So I have the SVO on the lift. Now, the idea here is to make this a running, driving, better looking car. In other words, I'm not going to restore this. That's not why I bought it. I'm going to try to elevate it, bring the car up, make it a little bit nicer, make it usable, and drive it, the remainder of the summer into the fall of this year. Now, the first thing I got to get on is that rear end. I did a couple of things because they were easy. I swapped out the air filter. I just changed the oil, and that oil filter was old. The oil was old. I'm hoping the rear end just needs serviced, but the only way I'm going to find that out is to take the thing apart. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. So that's the fill plug for the rear axle, and that thing has never been moved, ever. And that leads me to believe that this rear axle maybe has not been serviced at all. This was advertised with new exhaust from the cat back, but pretty sure that's not new. This section right here is not, new. So I removed the drain plug, and there's actually fluid in there. It was over full. The next thing I got to do is pull these calipers off. This rotor's probably seen better days. The pads still have some life in them, so they're okay. Pull the axles, which means I got to remove this diff cover. All I got to do now is get this diff cover off. I'll leave the one at the top in, and here we go. Now, I kept the top bolt in, and the reason for that is I don't want this to just go everywhere. This stuff smells just god-awful. But I want to get this drained, then take a look at my outside bearings. If they look bad, I have new ones, so I'm just going to replace them, obviously. But I'm worried about these inside bearings as well. Probably ought to get a new diff cover, too, because this one's seen better days. This pin right here needs to be pulled. That allows this shaft to come out. I can then pull the two axles. So I don't want to have to pull these inner bearings. If I do, I'm going to have to mark everything and then make sure that I don't switch left to right, or these end caps have to go on exactly the way they come off. The shims have to go in exactly which side they came out of, because the shims set that angle. And right now it's actually wearing pretty well, so I don't think it's an issue with the actual rear. It's either my inner bearings, which I'm hoping it isn't, or my outer bearings, which I'm hoping that's my issue there. But I'm going to pull the axles first. It's probably going to turn the gears, so I'm going to have to put a rag in here, stop that from moving. Lock pin. Slide this around. Get this pin to slide out. Nope, that was, sway bar. Won't be in the way now. So my pin's out. Now I can push in on the axles and get to my C-clips. Sometimes these just fall out, but this one is not playing. Oh, well, there's that. Now that axle can come out. Now I just got to do the same thing to the other side, pop it in, get the C-clip out, and we are in business there. Yeah, you're not supposed to use one of these pry bar. Get a seal out. You just got to watch you're not tearing up the inside of the axle tube. Being careful not to do that. Hello. The bad news for me is these bearings don't look all that bad. And that means something else is making the noise in there. So I'm essentially doing this for nothing. Great. So today with the SVO, I've been ordering parts and they come in sporadically. So as they come in, I put them on the car. Right now I've got the rear axle bearings replaced, new seals put in. I think my issue is within the clutches. It's the lack of friction modifier. At least that's what I'm hoping. If that's not the case, the fluid that I'm eventually going to put in here, I'm waiting on a diff cover to come in, it's going to have to be dropped and replaced, and I'm going to have to put new clutches in, but let's keep our fingers crossed that's not the case. What I'm going to address today is I'm going to service the transmission, and I've got this in. Look at that. It has no holes in it. This came from Rock Auto. It was 38 bucks. This is now removed, and this was my holy catback system. That's out. The new pipe is in, and I clamped it again. I am going to weld this, but I want to test drive it a little bit, make sure it's not hitting anything or clunking. Once that's verified, then I can bring it in, put it back up on the lift, and weld her up. Now this is a Borg-Warner T5 transmission. The service couldn't be any easier, except, well, I got this kind of in the way. That's my drain plug there. And that's my fill plug right there. So drain here, fill there, and then deal with this thing being, you know, right in the way. Oh, I'm gonna need my influencer. Oh, fucking shit. Well, this probably hasn't been serviced ever. It's like everything else in this car. It's nice to find a low mileage car, but someone didn't keep up with the service on it. Not so nice. Okay, so finger loose there. She finger loose. Yep. I'm probably gonna put something up there to deflect this oil, so it doesn't just bang into the exhaust pipe and all over the camera. I'll use a piece of cardboard to kind of deflect that down to the pan. So I did drain all the tranny fluid out of there. I just let it run. The fill plug's up there. I need to pull that. So they make a fill pump for this. You simply screw it on there and pump it. Mine is no longer pumping, so the valve or whatever went out. So then you run down the auto store and pick one of those up. So there you go. Screw it on the top. Now I stick this in the transmission and pump until the bottle's empty. It's going to take about 2.5 quarts, so there's going to be some pumping. There we go. Up in the holder, down into the trans, and pump away. Oh, there she goes. Now I just want to pump this until it starts to run out, but that's going to be 2.5 of these bottles, and at some point my fingers are going to get tired of pumping.
I'm Hans.
Yeah, I'm Franz, and we are here to pump you up.
Oh, what's that I see? Like she's streaming out. Yeah, she's streaming out. Fill plug back in. These are tapered, so the more you tighten them, the tighter the fit. Although you don't want to strip these or cross thread them. I know they say that cross thread's better than no thread, but cross thread one of these, that would suck. So I'm going to tighten this thing down pretty snug. And that's going to be, I think that's the torque rating. That is the right amount that it needed. So my diff cover has come in. I went with chrome because extra horsepower, right? No, because it was $34. So I don't use these. I just don't. They leak over time. The paper is porous and it'll leak. So I just don't use them. I'm going to run a bead of RTV around here and around the cover. I've degreased the surface on the axle, so that should be okay. There's no extra gasket material on there. The surface is clean. So we're going to run RTV around all this, and it's black RTV or the Right Stuff RTV. And then we're going to put this thing on. Then I got to let it sit for a little bit so it can cure before I add the fluids to it. Now, yeah, that looks like a 5-year-old did it, but you know, once it gets on there, it's going to spread out. There's a lot of RTV on there. I'm just going to double check to make sure I don't have any areas that don't have enough. But that's going to form a bond between this cover and the actual axle housing, and that'll keep the oil in. And that's really all I need to do. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. You know, I'm just going to hand tighten these things so I get everything lined up. So there's enough RTV on there to make sure it's not going to leak, but I want to get these things in. Then I'll torque them down. The torque spec is 25 foot-pounds, although to me that's maybe 1/4 inch oomph. I put a 1/4 inch drive on there and just, okay, it seems tight. It's not crucial these things are torqued down. It is crucial that they're all lined up correctly. I'm not going to torque these down right away. I'm just going to get them snug. Did you hear that? That was the torque spec. Chick, chick. Chick, chick. Chick, chick. Modern. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep. All right, that looks pretty decent. Not bad. Now I gotta wait for that RTV to cure. Then you can fill the diff and go from there. Cross our fingers and hope it worked.
So work on the SVO continues. I want to get this thing ready for the August 5th CJ Pony Parts Customer Appreciation Day. That's 6 days away. So I've got some work to do there. I did service the rear axle. I used one of these bottles and just a little extension of hose. It makes it so much easier to navigate these things around. I could actually drop the bottle on top of the exhaust system and let gravity do the job. I didn't have to pump them up like I did the transmission. That, you know, this gets tiring after 3,000 or 4,000 times. Another thing, and my theory that this thing just needs serviced, and that was why the rear was making noise, got bolstered again when I opened the master cylinder. Brake fluid isn't supposed to look like this. This is a darkish green. And to me, that means that this brake fluid hasn't been flushed since, well, probably 1986. So I need to flush the master cylinder. I have new flexible lines for the front and rear, so I'll put those on the car while I'm at it, because I'm sure they're the originals as well. I have to end the video here. I'm running out of time. I plan to wet sand this hood and fender area and then compound them and buff them. So that's going to be in the next episode. And then take the thing out and do a real test drive with it. Now, will that noise come back? Well, you're just going to have to watch the next episode to see. Either way, I plan to get this thing to CJ Pony Parts. If you're down there and you see the black SVO, say hi. Also, if you have an interest in Fox Body Mustangs, this is one of the Fox Body Mustangs. Maybe check out this video over here. It's the entire history of the Fox Bodies, all the way from 79 through 93. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you.